Okay, so welcome to the 21st and final session of BW4HANA training for this batch. Today we are going to see, so this we covered, sorry, I have to change the date. So this we covered composite provider is done, HANA exit variables is done. So today we'll be focusing on BW4HANA and SAC integration after we go through the migration path. So in the main class, this is going to be our topic, and I'm going to just change this to October. Okay, so we'll go through the SAC integration. We'll go through the cores, what is required from a BW configuration standpoint um, for the connectivity to work, because those are the prerequisite steps. Then we will see how the live data connection is created. Then we will see how a model and story is created on live data. Nothing will be stored in SAC. Everything will happen on the live connection. Okay, but before that, let's start with the migration. Let's continue rather with the migration theory. So we saw yesterday what are the available paths. There are four different types of migration. We have the in place, that means the same box. Then we have the green field, which is no data warehousing whatsoever. Now you're going for a fresh data warehousing software, so you go for BW4 HANA. Then conversion, we have shell and remote, and then finally system consolidation. So we saw some salient points for in place. We saw salient points for greenfield, accelerated, greenfield, remote conversion. Difference between remote and shell conversion is basically remote goes with data and shell goes without data, only the objects or the metadata. So let's continue with this. So it's also called brownfield because you are sending the data as well, metadata and the data, master data and transaction data including. So, but in here also you can pick and choose which models you want to migrate. You don't need to necessarily migrate all the models which are there. You can pick and choose, and that's what people do as a part of scope transfer. So in the tool, conversion cockpit tool, there is a option called scope transfer where you will select your models. And then the benefit in remote conversion and shell conversion is you don't need to have a huge downtime for your current production box. And another benefit is you can do comparison. So once you have moved your models, once you have loaded the data in those models, you can do a comparison of the same report, right? You can create a copy of that report and then redirect that to the new BW4 HANA system, and your original report will still point to your original production system. Now you can do a reconciliation whether the data in this is matching with that report or not. And only when your users are satisfied with the reconciliation, they give a sign off saying that yes, those two reports are matching. Then you are confident that whatever you have built in BW4 HANA is giving you expected results. So that's another benefit of having a sidecar approach. This is called a sidecar, meaning two boxes are sitting side by side, the original production and your new BW4 HANA. So usually that's why people prefer either shell conversion or remote conversion. But some people, they also go for in-place conversion because they don't have license, because you have to pay for a separate box. You have to have the hardware for it. You have to have basis team do their work. So there is some maintenance cost and licensing cost and hardware cost associated with it. So smaller clients who don't have that kind of budget, they say that no, that's fine. We'll have downtime, no problem. We'll have 3 days, 4 days of downtime, and we'll do it over a weekend, and then we'll take like Friday we will start and Monday we will try to finish it, so they can plan accordingly. But in my couple of conversions or migration projects I was involved in, one of them was in place conversion and the other one was shell conversion. So I have seen both the sides of the coin, and we had a hell lot of problems in place conversions. Anyways, any migration project, you will have a lot of issues, and actually you will have a lot of learnings as well. These migration projects are supposed to be the toughest projects for a BW consultant, because you will get to implement a lot of SAP nodes. You'll have to work with SAP. You'll have to debug issues. You will have to see what process chains or info objects or coding actually, especially routines and all, you have to make sure that they are compatible. You'll have errors there. You'll have to go and manually fix some coding. So there's a lot of activities which goes on in a migration project. And I think personally, every BW consultant should go through at least one migration project. That will make you a better consultant for sure. So these are the different types. And then finally, landscape transformation. Our target group is customers who want to consolidate their multiple BW systems into one single corporate global BW systems. And that's where, things become even more complex, because now you have to harmonize the different models, because US might have implemented sales and billing a little differently than Europe. Now, when you consolidate, you have to make sure both of them, are catered to, and all of both of them get their requirements met. At the same time, there is no redundancy in data or models. So that's why it's a little bit more complex. And that's where, if you need, again, not mandatory, it's optional, but if you need, there's a special service, SAP SLO, landscape optimization or landscape transformation service. You can take it from SAP as well. Again, here also you have the carve out option. Carve out means selectively. You carve out whatever you want to migrate to BW4HANA. You don't have to migrate everything. And that is done in the scope transfer. There's a conversion guide. You can see that on the help.sap.com. For 2.0, it will also be there. The screenshot is from 1.0. So this guide will actually give you all the SAP nodes and the necessary prerequisites. Then the main node I already discussed yesterday, 2383530. This is the central node, which will also give you link to other associated nodes. So this is a very important node to keep handy. And then, okay, this is the node. There are some attachments. Node analyzer is something which you will have to run as a ABAP program, which will give you all the necessary nodes. So I think in our BW system, probably it is there. I think if I remember correctly, not for the migration, but for some other reason, we downloaded, I think, the node analyzer. So let me see. There you go. So Z SAP BW Note Analyzer is basically an ABAP program which you will get from this SAP Note. And there you have to select the XML files. These XML files are also there as part of the SAP Note. So when the SAP Note zip file you will download, it will come with some XML files. And you'll have to first load the XML files. Once you load the XML files, then you'll have to execute this. Once you execute with XML file uploaded, then it will tell you that, okay, you are missing these nodes and these nodes are there. You don't need these nodes, but these nodes you will require. So this is very helpful in migration, because it will clearly tell you that what you are missing and what you already have. So this is, and this ABAP program is basically a source code. If I display the source code for this, is coming from this SAP Note as well. Once you download this, in the zip file, it will give you the ABAP program code also and XML files also. So what you have to do is you just have to go to SE38 and then create the program with this name, Z SAP BW Note Analyzer. And this is the code which will already be there in that SAP Note. You just have to download, copy, paste it here and activate it. That's all. Okay, but it needs XML files as a input. Then you do the readiness check. So the first step in migration projects of SAP BW4HANA is a readiness check. Again, it's a program, comes with this SAP Note. You'll have to download the zip file and then you will have to implement the program and you'll get the SAP readiness check. Once you execute it, you'll have to save it in the zip file and then upload it on the SAP's Launchpad, the website, and then it will give you that dashboard kind of a look, which we saw. And then we have the second step. See, first step, initial step is readiness check. Make sure you run the readiness check, make sure you upload the zip file, and then make sure you look at the dashboard, which will give you an overall at a higher level. See, readiness check is always at a higher level, not at a object detail level. But there is something called a pre-check. Pre-check is a further detailed granular level program which runs and which evaluates all your individual objects, your info cubes, your DSOs, your multi-providers, your info packages, DTPs, everything at a much granular level than readiness check. Readiness check is basically add-on compatibility is there or not, how many simplification items you will have, sizing guidelines will be there in readiness check. But this pre-check is a further drill down into the individual objects, and it will check the compatibility, whether the objects are compatible for the migration or not. And then once you, and it will also give you the recommendation if it is not compatible, which SAP note you have to implement or what are the steps you need to do. All that is also part of pre-check. Don't think that it will just give you the problem and it will not give you the solution. It will definitely give you the recommended solution as well. Then once you take care of that, then you actually start your realization phase, which is your actual migration step. And the actual migration step starts with scope transfer. Scope transfer is basically you select your models, whatever you want to migrate. And then you delete the technical content, because technical content is no longer applicable in BW4HANA. Remember zero TCT, there is no zero TCT anymore. All has been migrated to CDS views. So you don't need technical content anymore. And then you do the change operation mode, which will be the different modes we are going to discuss now. So this is called transfer cockpit, SAP BW4HANA transfer cockpit, and the transaction code is RSB4HCONV. This transfer cockpit will be available to you once you implement the starter add-on. So it's a part of starter add-on. Starter add-on is a small add-on on 7.5, which will enable you to change the operation modes basically. And this transfer cockpit also, I think, comes with this main SAP node. Okay, so transfer cockpit comes with the SAP node, but the operation modes, for the operation modes to work, you need the starter add-on, which is a software you have to download. So readiness check is preparation phase. Then preparation task means pre-checks, then in the transfer cockpit, and then third one is your final realization phase. So we already saw what goes on in readiness check. These are the 4 items: add-on compatibility, simplification items, simplification objects, and then sizing. Again, these objects will be given as a chart and graph, not at a individual object granularity. Then when you run the pre-checks, then you can see for every object what is the problem or what is compatible. Okay, so we all discussed this. I'm just going ahead. Readiness check first, then pre-checks detailed. So this is the step. So as a follow-up to the readiness check, it is normally required to analyze compatibility of objects in your current system in a much more detailed fashion, because this provides the insights of the decision whether it is, you need to implement SAP nodes, or you are still not ready, and there are some incompatible objects you need to manually take care of. Because sometimes SAP node will solve the problem, sometimes manually you'll have to make sure you adjust the code and all. The SAP BW pre-checks provides a detailed list with technical names of all the objects in a system that needs to be taken care of. Depending on your release level, BW release level, the BW4HANA pre-checks are available in the following ways. This is the report, RS BW4HANA conversion control from 7.0 to 7.5, 7.4. If you are in 7.5, then in the transfer cockpit itself, you can run the pre-check. But if you are on 7.0 to 7.4, then in the transfer cockpit, it will not be available. You have to run a separate ABAP program, which is RS BW4HANA conversion control. But if you are on 7.5, then pre-checks will be available as part of the transfer cockpit. The pre-check result groups the objects into following groups: incompatible objects supported by transfer tool, incompatible objects that will be deleted automatically, and incompatible objects that require manual intervention. So incompatible objects supported by transfer tools are 3.x migration tools like RS Migrate and or the SAP HANA transfer tool. So either you use the RS Migrate tool, which you can do for the 3.x objects, 3.x related update rules, transfer rules, etc. Right? Or you do through the transfer tools. Both of them are capable to migrate your 3.x object to 7.x. And then once you're on 7.x, then you can go to BW4HANA. Deleted. There are some objects which will be deleted, like info packages. Info packages will no longer be there. They will be deleted. Zero TCT objects, the BI statistics content no longer applicable. They will be deleted. BEX related objects, because BEX is no longer there, they will be deleted. So there are certain things that will be automatically deleted. That will also be shown to you clearly in the pre-check what's going to be deleted. And then if the transfer tool detects that this is not possible automatically, then it will tell you that you need manual intervention. And a very glaring example of that is transformation routines. So there are transformation routines which the system cannot automatically transfer. You have to make some adjustments because the domain name changed. So one of the most frequently encountered issue with the coding is domain name change. Info object domain 0ch val has changed in BW4HANA. Its length has changed and its data type has changed. And because of that, you have to implement an SAP note and make sure that if you are referring to that domain as a data type in any of the coding, then you have to change that to the new domain, RSCHA val. And there's an SAP note for that. So that is one of the examples of manual adjustment of code. So likewise, you will have few other instances where you have to manually adjust. Like for example, in the new ABAP code, the tables with header lines not supported anymore. You have to have a work area. That's mandatory. So if you have defined a table with header lines, that is no longer supported. That is an old code. So that will not be supported in BW4HANA, and sometimes automatically the system will not be able to do it. You will have to go into the code and make sure that you change the code, and instead of header lines, you declare a work area, and then in the loop, you do transfer in the work area, and then you append. So those kind of coding changes also you'll have to do. Some additional preparation features provided by SAP Conversion Cockpit are sizing reports you can run, scan coding. This is one of the tools which will help you to identify that which codes need manual intervention. It's going to scan the code and it's going to check whether your customer specific ABAP development and interfaces are compatible or not. This is SAP note. You can find further details, and it will tell you that, sorry, I cannot do this because this is not supported and this is your customer code. So automatically it will not happen. You'll have to do some manual adjustments. And then once you are done, there are some cleanup reports or ABAP programs as well. RSB4H check cleanup. If there are any old objects or inconsistent objects or broken objects in your system, you can do the cleanup as well. Additional program to clean up unused objects, RS delete T logo. So you can have this report run, which will tell you that if objects are not required anymore, you can use this program to delete it. But please, exercise caution when you run this report, because this is not like recoverable. So you cannot get these back once you delete it. There is no undo button or undo function here. Okay, and please do not delete the myself source system. Myself source system is still applicable and still relevant for BW4HANA. Because that you will use, say for example, we created the myself connection to create a data source out of the BI statistics tables. So there might be some requirements where you will need the myself connection, so don't delete that. And then this is a consolidated picture of, if you are one of these, then which path is the best suited for you. So if you have no BW systems, if you just have Oracle or SQL Server, then the best approach for you is you do a new installation of BW4HANA, and then you transfer the data from Oracle or SQL Server via SDA or via HANA local schema or SLT or whatever ETL tool you have, and then you build your flows in BW4HANA. In place is not available, of course. Remote shell conversion is not available, of course. Landscape transformation is available, meaning same thing. So your Oracle or SQL Server to your BW4HANA, SAP can help you migrate that. But you don't need SAP in this. Basically, you do a new installation and then load the data and do your modeling. If you are on BW on Oracle or BW on SQL Server, that means third-party databases, then the best approach is remote or shell conversion, where don't migrate the data. just do the shell conversion. I would say shell conversion is better than remote conversion here, because sometimes loading data throws an error, or migration of data can result in error. But remote is also possible in that. Remote means you can have, if there is no problems in the data transfer. Sometimes I have seen problems in data transfer. So that's why people say that, okay, I'll do shell conversion and then selectively I will load it from the source again. Sometimes we do that. But if your client says, no, 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 you cannot touch the source again, please load whatever is there already in PW, then you have to do the remote conversion. Or you do the shell conversion and later on connect through RFC your old BW versus BW4HANA and then load your data. That is also possible. So you can do all that. So remote and shell conversion is the best possible or the best recommended approach if you are on BW on any database. If you are on HANA database, then you have in-place conversion as your recommended approach, because you can immediately, if you are already on HANA, you will just need to go to 7.5, install the add-on, starter add-on, and you can immediately go to the BW4 HANA. But shell conversion or remote conversion is also possible for you, but not recommended, because you're already on HANA. Why do you need another box again on HANA? And then you will do the shell or remote conversion. But again, these are all recommendations. But many clients, they choose a remote conversion in this case also. Why? Because downtime. They can't afford a production downtime of a week. They just need to be this to be done over one weekend, and that's it. So that's why they will choose remote or shell conversion. But clients who can afford a downtime, they can prefer in place conversion as well. If you are already on 7.5 on HANA, this is not 7.5, lower than 7.5. But if you're already on 7.5, you just need to add the starter add-on and you can immediately go to BW4 HANA. So in place is the most recommended approach. But again, here also the decision is completely based on client to client. There is no general or generic recommendation here, but SAP is saying this is the easiest path since you're already there on 7.5 and you have installed the starter add-on. And then multiple BW systems, of course, landscape transformation is your recommended approach. There is no in place. Of course, there is no in place because in place deals with only one BW system, not multiple BW systems, but remote and shell is possible. So you can connect all your BW systems to the central BW for HANA, and then you can incrementally one by one, country wise or region wise, you can move the data or you can move the objects. That's also possible. So this is the picture which will give you that which path is suitable for you. Now let's go into the details of the individual activities in each of these. So first we'll see in-place conversion, then we will see the remote conversion, and then we will see the shell conversion. So process of in-place conversion. What is in-place conversion? That means one box, no two boxes. Same box is getting upgraded. So SID, the 3-digit SID or the 3-letter SID of the box remains the same. So in-place conversion of SAP BW4 HANA, say for example, you're on 7.x on Oracle, you go to 7.3 or above on HANA, you go to 7.5, the maximum SP level, whatever is available, 23, 24, 25, whatever is there on HANA. And then you install the starter add-on on top of the 7.5. Then you do your cleanups and you do the transfer of application into new BW objects. And then finally you go to BW4 HANA. So these are the individual steps. If you are not on HANA, you have to come on HANA. You have to be 7.5 on HANA. And preferred is latest SP, but latest SP is not mandatory. Then you have to install starter add-on, and then you have to execute the migration, because without starter add-on, you will not get these options, the operation modes. There are 4 different operation modes, which we will discuss in a moment. Without those operation modes, you will not be able to go to BW4 HANA for in-place migration. I'm just talking about the in-place migration right now. Okay. So what is starter add-on? Starter add-on is an add-on which you can see with this name, BW4 HANA. If one of the component is showing as BW4 HANA, that means that's the starter add-on. And that's how you can confirm that your system has the starter add-on or not. So it's a precondition for BW4HANA in-place conversion, and it's an add-on. That means it's a software component you can download from Service Marketplace. Basis team will do that for you, and they will install this add-on in your BW system, not BW4HANA system, BW system which you are planning to migrate. Provides access to conversion tools and manages the conversion process. Technical name of this component is BW4HANA. New authorization object to work with the starter add-on provided transfer cockpit and operation modes is SRSB4H. So a person who is doing the conversion from a BW side should have this authorization object. So basis needs to provide you this authorization object SRSB4H. Then you can work with the operation modes and the transfer cockpit and all the tools for the migration. Existing BW add-ons might prevent its installation. So there might be some third-party add-ons you already have in the system, which will tell you that no, with these add-ons, the starter add-on is not compatible, so you cannot install it. So then in that case, you'll have to talk to those third-party vendors for which you have added the add-ons, and then make sure it is compatible. Or you can check this note also. We have the 2246699 or 2189708. This will give you that for this starter add-on, what are the installable add-ons and compatible add-ons and prerequisites for this starter add-on. So you can check that. This starter add-on is a NetWeaver add-on that is required for an in-place conversion to BW4HANA. System modes. Yes, this is the operation modes I was talking about, which you will get once you install the starter add-on. There are 4 different modes. BW mode, which is the default mode. Then we have the compatibility mode, BW4HANA mode, and ready for conversion mode. These are the 4 different modes for the conversion or the migration. What are these modes? BW mode means no restriction. This is your default mode, meaning you can continue working in your BW system without any restrictions. Once you are ready for migration, you have decided that yes, we have to kickstart this project. Then you go through this readiness check, pre-check, and then you install the starter add-on as well, and then you will start your migration. The first step you will do is you will check this compatibility mode. So you will come to the transfer cockpit. In the realization phase, you will click this bar, change operation mode, and then it will pop up a window. Then you have to say that I will choose compatibility mode. What does compatibility mode mean? It means that you can continue working in your current BW system, but you cannot create any object which is of old type, and you cannot change an object which is of old type, meaning info cubes, your classic DSOs, info packages, your multi-providers. So whatever objects are not compatible with BW4HANA or they don't exist, all those objects, all the existing objects, you cannot change or create. Okay, but your operation can continue. New developments or changes cannot be done anymore because you are now starting the migration. Then you can also define some exceptions. So it might happen that there are some urgent fixes you have to do in production, right? For that, you have to do some changes. So SAP understands that there can be valid reasons where you need to change an existing object because there is a critical defect or a critical incident in the production. So for that, you can define exceptions, which is available in the form of whitelist. So you have to create a whitelist and then add those objects which you want to change in spite of being in compatibility mode. You still want to change them, then you have to maintain the whitelist, and those will be the exceptions. Once you do the compatibility mode, and in compatibility mode, basically you will do all the different fixes which you have to do for you to be ready for your BW4HANA migration. Okay, so in compatibility mode, you will spend the most amount of time because your pre-checks has given you that what are the things you have to take care. You will take care of them, and then the the readiness check has given you some details. The pre-check has given you, so all that fixes you will have to do in compatibility mode. Once you are done, Then you will select BW4HANA mode. That means there are no classic objects anymore in the system. Okay. And then we have the ready for conversion. Preparation for a conversion to SAP BW4HANA is finished. That means BW4HANA mode, when you will select, there shouldn't be any classic objects, meaning there shouldn't be any info cubes, there should not be any DSOs. That means in the compatibility mode, you have already transferred them into new objects. So one of the activities in compatibility mode will be that transfer your objects or convert your objects from old to new. That happens in compatibility mode. Once you say that, yes, I have no classic objects anymore, I have done the change, my info packages are gone, my transformation is still there, but now it is connected to advanced DSO. Uh, don't worry, you don't have to manually do all this. In compatibility mode, as a part of the compatibility mode, there will be a process which will say that transfer. So you will have to transfer. While transferring, there will be some errors. This code is not compatible, please fix it. You will go and manually fix the code. Again, you will run the process to transfer. And then you might have to do this multiple times. Finally, when the transfer process checks that, yes, you have taken care of all the manual work which you have to do, it automatically transfers your multi-providers to composite providers, DSOs to ADSOs, InfoCube to Data Mart ADSOs, so on and so forth. Everything happens in compatibility mode. Once you have done that, you will come here and say that, yes, I'm good now. B4HANA mode. In B4HANA mode, you will do few more activities. Okay, and we'll see that. What are the activities? And once you are done, then you will check that, okay, and now all the cleanup, all the activities, everything is done. Now I'm ready for conversion. And then you will execute the ready for conversion mode, and it will completely migrate your BW to BW4HANA. Okay. So these are the different modes. Most amount of time where you will spend, compatibility mode. Then a little bit of more further cleanup activities, BW4HANA mode. And then finally, you will tell to basis, yes, I am ready for conversion. They will check this final radio button, ready for conversion. And then the DMO runs, some DMO, database migration option, which actually runs all the programs and then it changes your BW to BW4HANA, deletes the Java stack and all those things, whatever is not required. So those are the DMO related activities. Before the sum DMO, you have to do all this. You have to make sure you're in compatibility mode. Then you have to do all the conversion from old to new objects. Then you will come in BW4HANA mode. You will do some more activities. And then you will finally tell basis, yes, I'm ready. They will go with this ready for conversion and execute. This is for in-place migration. Same box getting migrated to BW4HANA. Okay. So that's what I told you. I'm not going into details of everything which is written. I have just told you the nutshell of what these four modes are. So in BW mode, a system in BW mode operates the same way as your regular BW system without the starter add-on. So if you don't have any starter add-on, it's like your regular BW system. That's the BW mode. That's why it will be grayed out automatically. That is the default. SAP recommends reverting to BW mode only in exceptional cases. So, for example, if you are in compatibility mode, you want to go back to BW mode, that's not recommended. But in exceptional cases, you can do that. Compatibility mode. Objects that have unsupported object types cannot be created using user interfaces or baddies. Creating objects that have unsupported object types is possible using one of the methods only. What does it say? Unsupported object means info cubes, your classic DSOs. Remember, you cannot create or change in compatibility mode. Once you have selected this, your existing operations will work, data loading, reporting, everything will work, but you cannot create unsupported objects, info cubes, DSOs, old object types. You cannot create or you cannot change unless you have defined them in whitelist, the exceptions. That's what it's saying. So objects that have unsupported object types cannot be created using interfaces or baddies. Creating objects that have unsupported objects, if you want to do that, that's possible via two options: importing the BI content. So if you activate the BI, import the BI content or activate the BI content, then that's possible. Or importing scenarios with objects that have unsupported from another BW system. So if you have from dev to quality, you are doing the importing, then it allows. But in the system, in the system where your activities are going on, you cannot create or edit any objects. Objects created with one of the two methods in the system must then be transferred to objects that have a supported type. Of course, once you have brought in the unsupported object types and your work is done, then again you have to make sure that you convert them to new object types. Existing scenarios can continue to run as before. All objects can be changed. However, to export unsupported object types, transport unsupported object types, prior approval is required. This is basically the whitelist they are talking about. This approval is attained by registering the object in a whitelist. This is the ABAP report, BW4HANA whitelist maintained. You go to this ABAP program and you register that InfoCube or classic ADSO, whatever you have to transport or whatever you have to work with for urgent or emergency scenarios. The SAP BEX tools can still be used. Okay, so in compatibility mode, BEX tools can still be used. For more information, you have this note. So that is the only exception, that BEX tools will still continue to work in compatibility mode. All other objects, they'll have to be changed to new object types. Then comes the BW4HANA mode. So what are the activities you'll do in BW4HANA mode? The import is protected. You cannot transport or do any imports any longer. No more imports of unsupported objects are possible. Here, with the whitelist, import was possible. But in BW4HANA mode, even your imports are no longer possible. No new objects with unsupported object types can be created. Even even with the whitelist, you cannot do that anymore. So basically, neither BI content activation, nor your transport, nor your whitelist. No new objects with unsupported object types can be created, irrespective of your whitelist or your any other objects. BEX cannot be used anymore. This is where the BEX also has to go away. BEX will no longer work. So please remember, in compatibility mode, BEX will continue to work. All other modeling objects you'll have to change to new objects, but BEX will still be supported. In BW4HANA mode, BEX is no longer supported. And registering objects in the whitelist is not relevant any longer, as there are no unsupported objects in BW4HANA mode. Virtual info providers for BPC. If your BPC is there on BW and you have some virtual providers which you are using for BPC, they are still allowed. So the only exception of the old object types is the virtual provider for BPC, and that's because the BPC should continue to work, and converting virtual providers automatically with the OpenODS views, I think it's not seamless, or there might be some issues. So SAP is saying that they will still support virtual providers for BPC, but don't worry, this will also go away. Then you have ready for conversion. Once you select ready for conversion, all system-wide cleanup operations have been successfully completed. So you'll have to do some cleanup activities in BW4HANA mode. Some cleanup is done in compatibility mode. The remaining cleanup is done in BW4HANA mode. And then the system is fully prepared to start the conversion of software components from SAP_BW to DW for core. So the version of BW, we used to identify the version of BW with this particular software component, SAP_BW. Now that has changed to data warehouse for core. That means for HANA. So this is the software component now which will be used for you to identify that what is the version of my BW for HANA. So even in our case, if you go here in properties, there is nothing called SAP_BW. It's gone. SAP ABAP is there, SAP Basis is there, SAP Gateway Foundation is there, SAP UI is there, but SAP_BW is not there. That has been replaced with data warehouse for core. That's the component which will tell you that this is 2.0 SP4. So that's what will happen in ready for conversion. It will fully migrate. Length of the time you will spend: months in compatibility mode, weeks in BW4HANA mode, and hours in ready for conversion. Why months? Because here you will do multi-provider to composite provider, cube to ADSO, your ODSO to ADSO, your other objects, your info package to DTP, your transformation to transformation, open hubs to open hub, info sets were no longer supported. So all the conversion of the old object types to new object types will happen in compatibility mode. That's why you will spend the most amount of time here. Once you're done here, then you are 80% done. BW4 HANA mode, just few manual work has to be done. Some cleanups has to be done. These are the different activities. I'll show you what are the different activities. BEX Query Designer is disabled. Okay, in BW4 HANA mode, BEX is allowed in compatibility mode, but not allowed in BW4 HANA mode. Exception in compatible scenarios, which will still run, is virtual provider for BPC. And then finally, you will have system ready for conversion. Okay. And these are the different task list. This screenshot, what they are showing, these are different task list, which is available as part of your compatibility mode, your BW4 HANA mode, and ready for conversion mode. So what is the task performed during the switch from compatibility to BW4 HANA mode? This is what will happen. Your 3.x queries to 7.x queries. And this is the task list, rs underscore compatibility underscore to underscore B4H. I don't know if it will be there in BW4 HANA. Let me check. So how do you go to a task list? STC, SAP task. STC01. Yeah. So STC01. So STC01 is the transaction code for the task list, and this is the task list RS compatibility to BW4 HANA. So let's see if it is there. RS compatibility. It should automatically, give me the drop down if it's there. Compatibility to B4H. No, I don't think it's there. No. So it will be there in your BW box where you will install the starter add-on. Then all these things will come. And we are already on BW4 HANA, so that's why these things are not there. So once you execute the task list, it will transfer your 3.x queries to 7.x. Your data stores for personalization, it will transfer. It will delete the RDA configuration. RDA is real-time data acquisition, which is replaced by streaming process chains. So it will delete the RDA configurations. Your catalogs, info object catalogs are no longer there. It is replaced by info areas. So we used to have info object catalog for characteristics, info object catalog for key figures. They are no longer there. Now they are all under info areas. RSDDB indexes will be deleted. What is RSDDB? I think that is for the report to report jump. So RRI, I think, if I'm not wrong, probably. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. RSDDB is for the report to report jump configuration, right? Probably. I don't think its decode might be there, but let's check. Decode is not there. Okay,
is
so
it RRMMX?
RRMMX means for the BEX query designer, right? RSDDB was for the I think report to report jump interface, which is no longer available. Delete local providers. Local providers means the workspaces. So we used to have workspaces in 7.x on HANA, and now the workspaces are still there. Workspace concept is definitely there, but the previous workspace version is now advanced, and now the workspace version in BW4 HANA is new. That's why the local providers will be deleted, except the objects related to the BW workspaces. Local providers means local composite providers or multi-providers. Check system state, it will check the system state, and then finally it will switch from compatibility to BW4 HANA. So when you switch it, this is the task list you have to execute, and this task list will perform these activities. Then there is another task list called RSB4H to ready for conversion. This will switch from BW4 HANA to ready for conversion. What happens here? D versions of all objects are deleted. What is the D version? Delivered version of all objects are deleted. Virtual info providers for BPC is finally deleted here. Okay, for ready for conversion will not support. So that is supported till BW4 HANA mode. Obsolete source system types will be deleted because we know in BW4 HANA there are new source system types, your ODP source systems, your HANA source systems, and your flat file source systems. So the previous older versions of source system types will be deleted. SAPI connections to other BW system data marts will be deleted. Error stacks will be cleaned up. PSA tables will be deleted. Transfer the requested information for info objects to open up destinations. Check system state, and then switch to ready for conversion. And then ready for conversion, set R4H mode conversion tools for BW4 HANA. So in place conversion tools, classic objects are converted into BW4HANA objects. So this is just showing you that SAP BW 7.5 with starter add-on, what will happen? Your DSOs will become ADSOs, cube will become ADSOs, multi-providers will become composite providers. Request IDs are transferred into new request IDs. So REQ is no longer available. We have TSN, transaction sequence number, which is a format of timestamp YYYYMMDD, and then your hour, minute, second, and then your time zone, and then a sequential number. That's the format of the new transaction sequence number. So your old request IDs will change to your new request IDs. Transformation DTPs are recreated, keeping the same logic, because DTPs are still relevant, transformations are still relevant. The only thing which are not relevant are your info packages. So info packages are deleted and replaced by DTPs. Data sources are changed for SAP sources and DB Connect, because those are gone to ODP and HANA. PSA is obsolete but can be remodeled as ADSO. We all know that inbound table of ADSO is the table which has replaced PSA. Process chains are adapted, meaning new DTPs, new variants, etc. Compatibility views are created. So this is what happens during the in-place conversion. Where is this happening? Which mode will all this happen? This conversion is happening in which mode? BW4HANA mode, or compatibility mode, or ready for conversion mode? Which one? All the changes, DSO to ADSO.
Ready for conversion.
No. Where are you spending the most amount of time? Which mode?
Compatibility mode.
Correct. Compatibility mode. So in your compatibility mode, you will do all the major conversions. What happens in BW4HANA mode when you switch? Your queries, BEX queries will be transferred. Your RDAs will be deleted. Info-object catalogs will be deleted. But nowhere here they are saying DSO will be converted to ADSO. InfoCube will be converted to ADSO. That does not happen here. That happens in the compatibility mode. Then you will do the remaining cleanup or the remaining activities. Then you will do the final cleanup, and then you are ready for conversion. So please remember that the actual conversions of the objects will happen in compatibility mode, and then you will do the remaining task list for final cleanups, and then you will go for BW4HANA. When you transfer info cubes to advanced DSOs, what happens? If you have an info cube which is HANA optimized, you will have fact table and you will have dimension data packages. So there is one dimension table available, still available in HANA optimized info cube, which was for the data package, right? So fact table has 4 different partitions, right? In HANA optimized info cube, fact table has 4 different partitions. There is no E table anymore, right? In HANA optimized info cube, I'm not talking about BW4HANA. I'm talking about BW on HANA. So HANA optimized info cube will only have one table. We all know that. And there will be 4 partitions: uncompressed request, compressed request, marker updates, that means the initialization, and the movements, historical movements. So those are the 4 different partitions of an info cube, HANA optimized. From that, the compressed request will go to active data table, and your uncompressed request will go to inbound table. So that's what happens when an info cube is converted to an advanced DSO. Okay, and dimension data package is also merged with this. That means the actual, because we don't have any dimensions tables or any dimension concept in advanced DSO. That was only there in the info cube. So that is also taken care of while doing the conversion or while transferring the data from fact table to active data table and inbound table. Okay. When you transfer a DSO to an advanced DSO, what happens? Your changelog will go to changelog. Your active data table will go to active data table. And your inbound table will not go to your inbound table. Inbound table should be cleaned first. Cleaned means you have to activate the data first, and then changelog and active data table are transferred. So please remember that inbound table are not transferred, because the inbound table request ID is different than the request ID there. Even in changelog, the request IDs are different format. So changelog they are supported, but inbound table you have to first activate to make sure that it's a clean data in active table and changelog, and then you transfer it from changelog active data table to changelog active data table. Now sometimes what happens is the older naming convention, not sometimes actually, the older naming convention was different and the new naming convention. The old naming convention of the active data table was /BIC/A00. And for the activation queue, which is now called inbound table, was /BIC/A40, right? 40 was the inbound table and 00 was the active table. Now the name has changed to 1 for the inbound table and 2 for the active table. So naming convention of ADSO tables have changed. Now sometimes what happens, there is a code. For example, in the routines, in the start routine, end routine, there is a code, and that there you are already referring to an active data table of a DSO. When you're doing a lookup from the DSO in the routine, you will always write select from /BIC/A and then the name and zero, right? Now that name has changed. So what will happen? Do you have to modify all your code? No, you don't have to modify. What SAP does in the backend is SAP will create compatibility views. These are not calculation views. These are DB views, DB SQL views. What these views will do, these views will point to the new tables and your code will still work, because now your code, when you do a select star from or select column 1, column 2 from this 40 or 00, it will still work because there is a compatibility view. So instead of an actual table, it will go to the view, and that view in turn is based on the new table. So customer logic will keep working. That's what is the concept of compatibility views. Please remember that. So compatibility views are automatically created by SAP, which will point to the new table. The compatibility view name will be exactly same as your old name of your inbound table and active data table, so that your customer logic continues to work. Okay, so that's what happens in the ADSO transfer to, DSO transfer to ADSO. So this is just an example of old flow to new flow. So here you see old flow info cube, your transformations, your DTP, and your multi-provider based on the info cube. When after the transformation or migration, what will happen is you will have the info cube will change to your ADSO. This is the icon for an ADSO. Okay, don't go by the name. They have kept the description same. This is the description, and the technical name is also same. So technical name does not change. Technical name is the same, MSRCB 2015, same here. And now it will be an advanced DSO of what type? Data mart, advanced DSO. Transformation will remain the same. Transformation code, that means not code, ID, transformation ID will change. You see here it is 0FC8, here it is 0S9. So transformation ID will change, description will remain the same, and the logic will remain the same. The only thing is technical ID of transformations will change. DTP will stay as it is. Okay, maybe technical name of the DTP, the ID will change. And then you have the composite provider instead of the multi-provider. The name again is the same because this is a description. But look at the icon here. This is a composite provider. So your multi-provider will become your composite provider on top of the ADSO. So this is just an example of how things will change from old object flow to new object flow. Okay. And then you will do this execution of in-place conversion, execute scope transfer. Scope transfer means, so scope transfer is applicable for in-place, for remote, okay, not for shell, okay. For shell, I think sorry. Shell also it's applicable, but it is called remote metadata only. Yeah, sorry. So this remote including data is your remote conversion. Remote metadata only is your shell conversion. So don't get confused with the naming convention. Both says remote, but actually one is actual remote conversion and the other one is shell conversion. So all the three will allow you to do a scope transfer where you will actually collect the scope. That means the data flows which you want to transfer, and then all the other task list will be executed. This is the task list, SAP BW4 transfer in place. So you will execute the task list, and these are all the tasks of the task list. And this is the starter add-on. Starter add-on will give you those modes, BW4HANA mode, compatibility mode, and ready for conversion modes, and all those. This is just a summary. So Bex query, you don't need any conversion. Okay, it will automatically change to BW queries for Eclipse. 3.x data flow, you have to migrate to 7.x. For that, you can use the existing tool, which is RS Migrate, or the conversion cockpit also. 7.x flow will be converted as regular in the transfer cockpit. Then you have some manual conversion. If you have analysis process designer APD, you have a transfer tool called RS BW4HANA APD, which will convert them to HAP, HANA analysis process. And then for manual conversion, these are a few things which will happen. HANA source system, composite provider, virtual InfoCubes composite provider, they are also taken care, but sometimes due to some custom coding or custom logic, sometimes you have to do some manual intervention. Okay. So this is in a nutshell what happens in a BW4HANA migration. For in place, I think we're already 8:32. I have two more things I want to discuss, the remote conversion and the shell conversion. But what I will request you is you go through them in the material I've already given. You already got the gist of what's happening or what takes place in the migration. But if you can just go through the remote conversion and the shell conversion, both are there in this particular page in OneNote. So go through that. And then if you have any questions or any doubts, please come back to me with your questions. Okay. All right. So I'll stop the recording for this.